Hi everyone, in my last video I showed you how to build and automate a Python ETL pipeline with Airflow on AWS EC2. If you have not watched this video, I highly encourage you to go do that. This is the link to the video and I'm going to be putting the link in the description below. Okay, now in that video what I showed you was a situation whereby we connected to a weather map API. And if you remember what we did, we had a sequential workflow, in which case one step needs to be done before you get to the other, then before you get to the other one. Okay, but in today's video what I wanted to show you is a case where we are going to be having parallel processing. Okay, now let us talk about what we need to build. Okay, in this case you have the start of your pipeline, and as you can see, this then divides into two paths. Okay, now let us assume that every morning or every day or every hour you always get a CSV file in an S3 bucket. So let's assume here we have a CSV file inside this S3 bucket. Okay, we want to load this file from Amazon S3 into a Postgres database. Okay, and this Postgres database is going to be an AWS RDS Postgres instance. Okay, now while this is processing, we want to also have another process going on right here. So it's going to be a parallel processing, and in this case we are going to be connecting to the Open Weather Map API. Okay, we are going to be using Python to transform the data, and then we will then also load it into an AWS RDS Postgres database. Okay, now when we do that, all these are going to be occurring in parallel, and that is why we call it parallel processing. Then we are going to have another task that is going to join, that's going to pull data from this Postgres and this Postgres, and then join them, and then eventually load them to an Amazon S3 bucket. Okay, all these are going to be orchestrated by our Airflow instance that is running in an EC2 instance. Okay, it's going to be orchestrated by Airflow that is running in Amazon EC2 instance. Okay, I hope you guys have an idea of what we want to build right now. All right guys, let's get going. One thing I will also want you guys to also spend some time with is I have these two other videos which I have explained how you can extract the current weather data from Open Weather Map API using Python on AWS EC2. I will also highly encourage you to go over this video. Okay, that is also going to help you a lot. And also, how do you remotely connect to Visual Studio Code? How do you remotely connect your Visual Studio Code to AWS EC2? I also have a video on that, because these are the different techniques we are going to be using in today's video. So I highly encourage you to go watch those first. Okay, and also I'll put the link to these three videos in the description below. All right guys, now let us get going. The first thing you will want to do is to go to this openweathermap.org. If you don't have an account yet on this website, you need to first of all sign up. Okay, that is part of what I have explained in this video right here. Okay, but right now I'll just give you a few explanation. Also, what you can do is go to this website. I'll put the link in the description below. Okay, and then sign up. When you sign up, an email is going to be sent to you for you to validate your email address. You will click that and then you will validate. Okay, now after you validating, then another email will be sent to you with your API key. Okay, because that is what we need to be able to connect to the weather map API. Okay, and then when you obtain your API key, then you can use it for this project. It might take 1 or 2 hours or so for your API key to be activated. Okay, you are going to see the API key in your email. You can also come to your profile right here. Like in my case, this is my profile. If you click this and then you come to my API keys, if I click that, you can see I have my API key. You see that now. So you are going to have your defaults. If you want to make that inactive, you can make that inactive. Okay, even if you want to delete, you can delete. You can make it inactive from here. But in my case, you can see I already made this to inactive because I had already used it previously for some videos, and because of that I made it inactive. Okay, and then I created another one. Creating another one, all you just need to do is type a name you want to give it right here. Like in my case, I gave it test3, and then I click generate, and then it generated another API key for me. Okay, I hope you guys get that right now. Okay, very good, guys. Another thing that you would need to do also is, as you know, that everything we're going to be doing today is going to be on Amazon AWS. Okay, so all you have to do first is, if you don't have an account on AWS, I encourage you, for you to be able to follow this video, go to aws.com or aws.amazon.com and then create an account. Okay, create an account. I think it's going to also ask you for your debit or your credit card, so you need to input that also, because some services are you have some eligibility to have some free service, and some you have to pay. Okay, so now after you have done that, then the next thing we want to do right now is we want to sign in. So in my case, I have signed in. Okay, I have signed in. Let me go to the region I want, US West region. Okay, I've changed that. Now the first thing we want to do is we want to create a Postgres RDS instance. Okay, now what you need to do is you can type in RDS, and then if you want, you can just open this in a new tab. That is what I have right here now. Okay, and this is going to load. Okay, now this has loaded. The next thing I'm going to do is to create a database. I will click create database. Okay, remember that what we are trying to do right here is we are trying to create an instance of Postgres database on the AWS RDS. Okay, RDS is relational database service, okay, of AWS. Okay, remember, because if you look at what I have here, we have Postgres, right? And that's why we want to quickly provision that first. Okay, it takes some time. So you have your standard create, leave that checked, then check PostgreSQL. Okay, the engine version, I will leave the default one right there. That should be good for us. And then the template we want to do, you want to use the free tier. Okay, and then database instance identifier, we want to give it a name. Okay, I will give mine this name. I will copy and paste to save us some time. Okay, this is the name of my instance. Okay, and then what is the master username? Is Postgres. I will leave it like that. I don't want to change it. That's fine. And then I can give it a password. I'm going to give it a password. Okay, it says I should also confirm the password again. Okay, and then what do we have next? Bustable classes. Let's leave this way. That's okay for us to use. 1 gig RAM. That's okay. What we are doing is not much. Okay, and then the storage, let's leave it that way. Enable storage auto scaling. That's okay. And then this one, don't connect to an EC2 compute resource. Let's leave that way. And then I'm going to leave it as the default VPC. The database subnet, I'm going to leave it that way. Okay, and then I'm going to choose public access right here. Okay, and then right here is asking for VPC security group. Okay, I'm going to select this. Okay, create new, and then I'm going to give my security group a name. You can give yours also, whatever name you want to give it. Okay, now availability zone, I can leave it as no preference. Okay, and then create these RDS. Let's move on. Additional configuration, you want to make sure that this is 5432 because that's the port that the Postgres is going to be running. Password authentication, this is okay. I want it to authenticate me to enter password each time I want to get into the database. Okay, turn on performance insights, that's okay. 7 days is free tier. Okay, and then additional configuration, enable enhanced monitoring, that is okay. Let's leave it unchecked. And then additional configuration, initial database name, right here is just asking you if you want it to also create an initial database for you. Okay, but in our own case right here, since if by the time we create this instance, it's going to create by default a Postgres, is going to create by default a database for us whose name is going with the name Postgres. Okay, so because of that, I'll just leave that way. I don't want to create another database name. Okay, just leave it that way, because by the time we say create instance, it's going to create by default a database for us with the name Postgres. Okay, so let's leave that. Enable automated backups, yes, let's leave that. Let's leave that check. Enable encryption, let's leave that check. And I think that should be that about that. So let's just come down right here and do create database. Just take note of your password, okay, and the username you had created. Okay, so I will say create database. So now this is, I will close this. This is going to be creating right now. Close this. As you can see, it says creating. I hope you guys get that right now. What we are going to be doing in this first in the first few minutes or something, it's going to be us setting up all the configurations and the IAM roles and all of that policy. We need to set all these things up before we start creating our DAG. Okay, very good, guys. So this is going to take some time to create, but while this is going on, the next thing we would like to do is you can close this, or you can come right here. Let us go and provision our EC2 instance. So type EC2 right here. Okay, if you want your EC2, if you want any of those icons of those services that you want to be appearing here, all you have to do is, if you do EC2, okay, just click this star. If I click this star, if I click it right now, you can see in my case the EC2 is gone right here because I took it out. But if I type EC2 again and I click on this star, making it my favorite, right, or one of my favorite, if I click that, that should appear here again. You can see it has appeared here. Okay, you can also do that. Okay, that makes it easy for you. Okay, now I can open this in a new tab. This is my new tab. Okay, now I want to provision an EC2 instance. Okay, now let us say launch instance. I'll click launch, then I'll say launch instance. So now it needs me to give it a name. Okay, I have a name in mind already. I will copy and paste it right here, guys. Okay, and then the Amazon machine image, I will click Ubuntu. Okay, leave this way, free tier eligible, that's okay. Then I'll come here and I will come to the instance type. This is a free tier, that's this T2 micro, but this T2 micro is free, but you might not be able to use this to run your Airflow. Okay, I think Airflow needs from 2 gig memory and above, right? 2 GB of memory and above. But if you are able to try this and it works, let me know. I tried it one time but it didn't work out for me. Okay, but you can try it and let me know in the comment section below if it worked out for you. But in this case, I've also tried T2.small, that worked out for me. That was what I used in my previous video, but in today's video I will be trying T2.medium. Okay, I've tried this before, T2.small. I want to try this also now. T2.small worked. Okay, let me try medium also. Medium should also work. This is 2 virtual CPUs and 4 GB of memory. Okay, and this is going to incur some cost on you. Please take note of that. Okay, and now we need to create a key pair. Okay, a key pair. We need to give it a name. Basically, you can come right here and do a create new key pair, but in my own case I already have a key pair already which I have saved in my downloads folder. It is called it's a .pem file. Okay, if you don't know how to do that, in this video where I showed you how to build and automate Python ETL pipeline, I already showed that how to create that KPI, even in this video and in this third video. So I highly encourage you, if you are having some challenges in creating the new KPI, I highly encourage you to go and watch any of those videos. Okay, but in my case, I've created it already and I have it in my downloads folder, so I'll put it right there. That is the KPI I want to use. Okay, and then here I'll say create security group. So I'll check all this. That means I'm allowing SSH traffic from anywhere, HTTPS, then also this. Okay, now I think that should be good for us. Let us launch this instance. This also is going to be initializing and being provisioned for us. If I click these instances right here, you can see right here, this is what we just created, whether apache-airflow parallel execution for. You can see that it is in pending states right now, and then this is the instance type, medium, and then you can see this is the key name that we just talked about right here. Okay, all right guys, so now what we will do is, you can see now it says this is in running state, right? So that means it's running right now. Let us refresh and see what happens. You see it says running and it says status check initializing. Okay, so now while that is going on, because it is already running, we can connect to this EC2 instance. Take note, we want to be able to install all the dependencies and all the configurations that we need before we actually get into building our workflow. Okay, that's basically our task. You need to make sure that everything is working out fine. You need to make sure that your EC2 is able to connect to your Postgres. You need to make sure that you have all the necessary prefs to be able to grab data from, or your CSV file from the S3 bucket into Postgres. All these different moving parts are what we are going to be taking care of right now. I will refresh this again. Okay, now let me check this. This is my EC2 instance, right? If I check that and then I'll click connect. So when you click connect, you are going to be inside this tab, EC2 Instance Connect. You can see this is the name of your your instance, not the exact name which we gave it, but the username, basically the username. Okay, now this is the name of our instance, but this is the username. Ubuntu is the username. Okay, so I will say connect. So when I click connect, it's going to be opening a command line terminal for us right here. Now, very good, you can see that we are connected to Ubuntu right here. Okay, now the next thing we want to do right now, we want to start installing dependencies. For this RDS, if you come right here, you can see this RDS now is available. You can see that right here, everything is available. But let us come back right here to this our EC2 Connect and let us start installing dependencies. Okay, I'm going to be copying and pasting these commands. Don't worry, I will also give you these commands. I will leave them for you in the description. Okay, so that you don't have to be typing, so that you don't take too much of your time. Okay, just do copy and paste. So sudo apt update. So right here, I'm trying to update my these EC2 instance that we have provisioned, and this is going to continue updating. You see it has finished updating. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install pip right here. I'm going to install, right click and paste. I will install pip, that's sudo apt install python 3-pip. Okay, and then it's asking me if I want to continue. I'll say yes and I'll click enter. Okay, that is installing right now. I hope you guys are getting this, guys. We are trying to install the dependencies that we need to be able to run our EC2 and do all the other different things. So I will click on this and then I'll just click enter. Okay, very good, that has installed. Now the next thing I want to install is I want to install a virtual environment. So I will say sudo apt install python 3.10-venv. Okay, I'll click enter, and then I'll say y continue, that's yes. So that is going to run. Very good. Now is we say I'll just click on that, and then I'll just say enter, and that is going to complete. Very good, guys. Now the next thing I would like to do is then to create a virtual environment for this project. Okay, so you're going to do python 3-m venv. Remember, we just installed the virtual environment, but now you want to create the virtual environment we are going to be using for this project. So I'm calling it airflow_venv. You know, so you can give it whatever name you want to give it. You can give whatever name you want to give this right here. Okay, but for me, I want to call it airflow_venv. Then I'll click enter. It's going to create a virtual environment for me. Okay, very good. That is done. Okay, then the next thing is I'm going to activate that environment. So I will say source airflow venv bin activate. Very good. You can see now that I activated it. You can see airflow_venv is right here. So that means we are in that environment right there. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to be installing will be S3fs, because this is going to be used under the hood as we are grabbing data from S3 and all of that. So let us install that. Also, okay, that is done. Very good. Also, we are going to be installing fsspec. Okay, that's sudo pip install fsspec, or you say fsspec. Then I'll click enter. Okay, it says the requirement already satisfied. Very good. And then the next thing now is let us install airflow. Let us install airflow. Remember, we are just installing all these dependencies, but I want to take time to install it while we are making this video, so that you guys can see what is going on as I install. Okay, so sudo pip install apache-airflow or -airflow. That is going on right there. It will take a few seconds to install everything. Yeah, I just want to make sure that you guys see the installation process right here. Okay, wait for a few seconds. Okay, very good. This is done. Now, as part of Airflow, one of the things we are going to be connecting to Postgres also, right? You want to remember that this is what we are trying to work on right now. Airflow is going to orchestrate all these processes where we are going to be connecting to Postgres and all of that. So we need what is called a Postgres provider. So we are doing a sudo pip install apache-airflow-providers-postgres. Okay, we are going to need that. So I will do install. I'll click enter. I'm going to give you all these commands. Okay, don't worry, guys. Okay, very good. Now that we have gotten all of that, now the next thing I want us to go into is let us go to our EC2 that we just provisioned. Go to your EC2. This is your EC2. Check this. When you check this, go to security. Okay, now when you go to security, you can see security groups. I will click security groups. Okay, I hope you guys are getting it. So now you see inbound rules. Inbound rules. You are in this tab of inbound rules. Okay, then you will click edit inbound rules. Okay, now I'll click add rule. Okay, now if I click add rule, I will come here and I will look for PostgreSQL. Okay, I'll click PostgreSQL. You can see that the port is 5432. Okay, now I can come here and I can say anywhere IPv4. Okay, you can see I have anywhere 0000. Okay, and then I will save this rule. That way, you know, we can be able to connect to our Postgres. Okay, now that I've gotten that, the next thing I would also like to do is let us also go to our data, our Postgres instance. You can see that this is ready right here. If I click this, rather, if I click that link, okay, I can scroll down a little bit, and then you can see the VPC security groups. Okay, if I click this, if I click that, so I mean, if I come to inbound rules, okay, I can also edit this. Let us see if this needs any edit. Okay, I think this does not need any edit right here. PostgreSQL, you can see the port range 54 custom. Okay, this looks good already. Okay, let us come outside of this. All right, guys, I hope you guys are getting this right here, guys. We are installing what we need to install, and we are making things ready. We are doing planning and installations and all of that for our major project, right, which is, you know, building that parallel processing. Okay, now the next thing we would like to do right now is to connect to Postgres RDS instance. We have to install what is called PostgreSQL clients on our EC2. Let us come right here. Let me show you something right here. I'll also, this link, if you go to this link, okay, you have these steps right here and these commands that you need to run. Okay, and what this is doing right here is that from our EC2, we want to be able to connect to our Postgres, right? That's our RDS Postgres. Therefore, we need a PostgreSQL client on our EC2. Okay, and for us to be able to do that, we have to run these different commands right here. I hope you understand that right now. So let us go back to our EC2 command line and start that installation. Okay, so I will copy this right here. Okay, and then I will come here and I will right click, I will paste, and then I will type, I will press enter. Okay, that is done. Remember, you don't have to be typing this. Okay, just copy and paste. Make sure you grab all the different, you know, characters there. So this is going to import the repository sign-in key. Okay, you come right here, I will do a paste, I will click enter. Okay, that is done, and then I will do a sudo apt get update. I will copy, okay, command C, and then I will paste, press enter. Okay, that is doing some update. That is done, and then I will come right here, and then the next thing is sudo apt get -y install. So right now we are now installing the Postgres right there, right here. Okay, now take note on the EC2, that is what we are doing right here now. Okay, I will do paste, and then I'll press enter, and then that is going to finish the installation. Okay, and then after that we go to the next thing. Let this continue, let this finish the installation. It's going to take few seconds. Okay, while this is going on, let me show something to you right here. So Postgres. Okay, very good. Now, okay, let's click here and then click enter so that it can finish that installation. Okay, it has finished the installation. Okay, but meanwhile, I came to this website. I will also give you the link to this in the description. And what this is saying right here is that importing data from Amazon S3 into an RDS for PostgreSQL database instance. Remember that I told you that we are going to have a file in our Amazon S3 which we need to load into our RDS Postgres, right? So that means we need to do some setup right there. Okay, however, for you to connect to your Postgres using PSQL, okay, remember that we just installed the client right here, the Postgres client, right? So now let let us now connect from our EC2 to that Postgres, because now we have the Postgres client. So how do we do that? All you have to do is you have to use this command right here, okay? But so you just do PSQL, okay, dash host, or you can say dash host, you know, and then you put the host name and all of that. So I'm going to show you that right now. I'm going to do a copy and paste in my own case right here, or better still, I can just type it out for you to see. PSQL -h. Now that -h means that you should type the host name. Now how do we get the host name right here? If you go back to your RDS, I'm going to click mine right here. I click RDS, and then let's go back to that instance. Come to databases. Remember, we had created it before. Then click on this, your instance. So there is an endpoint right here. You can see this endpoint right here. So RDS, database, test, all this, that is your endpoint right there. So you are going to copy this, and then you are going to paste it on that command line. I hope you get this right here, guys. Okay, I'm going to do that right now. Go back to this place, and then I'll put this space and then paste that. Okay, and then the next thing you are going to do is space -p. -p is the port, and remember that this is Postgres is going to be running on 5432. Okay, and then I'm going to say dash uppercase U. That is your username. Remember that when you had created the RDS instance Postgres, we saw the master username, and we saw it was Postgres. So I will type in Postgres. Okay, then in my case I will do dash uppercase W, and the reason I'm doing this is that I want it to prompt me for password each time I try to get into the Postgres. So I'll click enter. Now you see it's asking me for password. Then I will type in my password. Remember the password that you had created before. When you type in the password, you are not going to see anything on the screen. Take note. Then you press enter. Very good, guys. You can see now I'm in the Postgres right now. Okay, you can see if I do dash list, I can see the list of the databases that I have. You can see right here I have these 4 rows, right? These are the different databases. And remember, I told you that when we created that instance, by default we add a Postgres database. Can you see that now, guys? This is the Postgres database the database name that has been created for us, and that is what we are going to be using. And that is why we did not create an initial database name before. Did you get that? Do you get that right now, guys? Now that we are inside here, what we then need to do is this. Let me show you right here. We need to install an extension that is called create extension AWS S3 Cascade. You also need to put this semicolon right here. Take note of that. And what this is going to do is that this is going to help us to be able to transfer that file that we have in our S3 onto our Postgres. Okay, this is going to help us to be able to do the AWS S3. Okay, so we need, remember that what we have right here is importing data from Amazon S3 into RDS for Postgres, right? So this method is going to help us. This extension that we want to install will help us to be able to do that. So I'll copy this. Remember, copy everything up to that semicolon. Okay, and then I would come over here. Remember, we are inside this Postgres right now. So I will come here and I will paste. I'll right click and then I will paste, and then I'll press enter. Very good. That has installed. Now we are onto something, guys. Remember that all these are the prerequisites, or they are the requirements that we need to put in place before we can even create our DAG for our airflow orchestration. Okay, now that we have that, what is the next thing? Now the next thing is for us now start to create IAM role. okay, IAM Role, that will help us to be able to have the necessary permissions or the necessary privileges to be able to import data from Amazon S3. Okay, still on this same link, which I'm going to share with you at the end of this video, you see it says setting up access to an Amazon S3 bucket. Okay, it says using an IAM Role to access an Amazon S3 bucket. Okay, now what is the first thing it says? It says create an IAM policy. You can see right here, it says to give an RDS for Postgres database instance access to Amazon S3 through an IAM Role. So we want to give it access. Okay, now create an IAM policy. How do we create that? Okay, this is already giving us some ways to an example, a template. Okay, like this. So that means your policy name, give it a policy name right here, leave other things as it is. You have GetObject, ListObject, all those things. Now the next thing you need to do is you need your S3 bucket name. Okay, so that means that right now for us, we don't have an S3 bucket name, right? So let us quickly go and create an S3 bucket. Okay, now how do we do that? I can come right here, or you can come here and just say S3 and then just right click and open a new tab. This is it right here. Okay, and then I'm going to create an S3 bucket. Okay, and as you know that your S3 bucket name should be unique across all of Amazon S3. Okay, so I will click create buckets. Okay, and then I'll come here, I will type in my name. This is the name of my own bucket. You select the region. This is the region I want. Okay, and I think every other thing should be good. So you can just come down right here and do create bucket. Take note of your bucket name. Okay, you can see this is my bucket name, testing-ymlo. Okay, so that means that if I then come right here, I will just replace this with my S3 bucket name. I'll replace this with my S3 bucket name. I can give this a name right here. I hope you guys understand this right now. Okay, now for me to create the IAM role in this connect that I need to come out of this Postgres. Remember, we have already created the AWS S3 Cascade. So let us come out of this Postgres. For you to come out of it, you type /q, lowercase q, /q, and then you press enter. You can see now that we have come out of this right here. Okay, now the next thing, like I said, is that I want to create a policy. Okay, now let me create policy right there. Let me create policy. I will copy and paste that right here. Take note, make sure if you are copying everything, make sure you copy everything very well, even up to this quotation. Okay, now in my case, I've copied it, then I will come right here, I will paste. Now see what I'm doing right here, guys. You can see right here, AWS IAM create policy. This is my own policy name right here. Okay, you can give it also your own policy name, and also I've put the name of my S3 bucket. You remember the name of my S3 bucket? I've put it right here, and also I've put it right here. You can see that's my S3 bucket. Now I can just press enter. Okay, oh, very good. We got an error right here. Okay, it says command AWS not found but can be installed. Okay, very good. We missed a step right here, because for us to be able to do this, we need to first of all install AWS CLI. Okay, now let us install AWS CLI before we create the policy. Okay, so now for me to create the AWS CLI, what do I need to do? I'll first of all come right here and I'll say sudo apt install. Let me put that right here, sudo apt install AWS CLI. I'll press enter. You can see that is going, asking me to continue. I say yes, continue. That is what we are doing right there. Okay, this is going to take a few seconds. Okay. Okay, that's almost done. Okay, I'll just click here and then just press enter. Okay, very good. That is done. Good, guys. Now the next thing is we need to configure this AWS right now, because now we have installed the AWS CLI library. We need to configure it, and for us to configure it, we need what is called access key and secret key. Okay, now how do we do that? Go back to your console right here. For the next thing we are going to do right now is to create access key and secret key. So all you have to do is come to your profile right here. You can see the upside down triangle. If you click it and then click the security credentials, if you click that, it's going to bring you right here. Okay, and if it brings you right here, you can see access key, right? I want to create that, then I will say create access key. If I click there, then I can say I understand, and then I'll say create access key. You can see now I have access key and I also have secret access key. Okay, take note of these keys. Okay, now we will then go back to, I can copy this. If you click this, copy it. I will then go back to my connect right here. Then I will say AWS configure, then I will press enter. You can see now it's asking me for the access key which we just created. I will right click, I will paste, I will press enter. It's asking me for secret access key. I will go back there again, I'll copy secret access key, click that, and then I'll come to my connects. I will right click, paste, click enter. Now it's asking me for my default region. Okay, what is your region? That's the region that you are using. In my case, I'm using US-West-2. Okay, so I'll come right here. I'll say US-West-2. If you don't want to have a default region, you can just press enter without typing anything. Okay, that would also work. So I click this. Now it's asking me default output format. Here I don't have anything to enter. I will just click. I don't have anything to type. I will just click enter. You can see now that is configured right now. We have configured it using our access key and the secret access key that we just generated. Okay, now that we have done that, then we should be able to create our policy right now. So we'll create policy like I showed you right here, that the first thing is we create IAM policy. Okay, so we are going to go back right there. We typed it earlier and pasted it. Let's see, I can press my up arrow to go back there. Okay, here we are. I have it right here now. And then, or you can, for your case, you can do a copy and paste right there. But make sure that you give it a policy name and then your bucket, your S3 bucket name. Make sure you have it right there. Okay, so now I'm going to press enter. Now you can see that this ran successfully. Okay, now we have created the policy. Okay, and this policy will help us to be able to access this S3 bucket. Okay, now that we have created the policy, what is the next step? Remember that what we are doing right here is we are creating an IAM role to access the Amazon S3 bucket. Okay, now the next step is creating the IAM role right now. We first of all created policy. Now we want to create the role, and this is a template for us for Linux because we are using Linux, right? Ubuntu. Okay, so in my own case, I have it right here. But remember that you are going to have role name. You can give it any name that you want right there. Okay, very good. So in my case, I have this right here. I'm going to copy and paste it. Okay, I will come right here. I will paste this. I will put all these commands in the description. Okay, so then I will type in enter. Okay, very good. That has finished running. You can see the service right here is RDS Amazon AWS.com. Okay, now that we have that, what is the next thing that we we are asked to do right here. It says attach the IAM policy that you created to the IAM role that you created. Remember, we first of all created the IAM policy, and then we now created the IAM role, right? That will give us the S3 access, right? Now let us now attach that policy to the role that we just created. Now this is the command that we're going to be using. So you are going to look for the policy ARN, that's Amazon resource number, I think that's what it is. Then the role name. Remember, we just created a role, and then we also created a policy. So what you can do is come right here. Remember that we have this here. I can come here, I can look for IAM, type in IAM, go to IAM. Let us go and look for the role and the policy that we just created. Let us go to policies. You see, this is the policy that we created. If you come back right here, it says that your policy ARN. So what are you going to put right here? If you come back here, click your policy. This is your ARN right here, guys. This is your ARN. Okay, this is your ARN, and then that's your ARN for your policy. Okay, so and then in my own case, I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to put it in my notepad that I have in my other screen. So you should also do that, so that I can make sure that I'm using the correct ARN. Okay, take note, this is the ARN for the policy. Now the next one says, what is the role name? What is the role name? What is the name of that role that we created? Okay, now let us come back here. Let us go to roles. Which role did we create before? This is the role that we created before, right? Which is PostgreSQL -S3 role -YML -4. So you are going to copy this also, and then you are going to put it right here. Okay, in my own case, I already have it here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I will copy that, and then I will go to my connect again. I'll right click and paste. Take note, guys, I'm spending some time for you to be able to do all this setup, because if these setups are not done correctly, then we are going to be having errors. We're going to be having issues when we are running our airflow. Okay, all right, now that is done about that. Now what is the next thing? It says that add the IAM role to the database instance. Remember, we created the policy, we created the role, and we attached the policy to that role, right? Which was what we just did right here. Okay, now that we have attached the policy to that role, now let us now add that role now, which has the policy already, to the database instance that we have created, the Postgres database instance. Now in this case, you could do it using different methods. You could use it via console or AWS CLI or RDS API, but we are going to be using AWS CLI as we have been doing right here. Okay, so now it's going to be AWS RDS and all this, and then it says database instance identifier. This is, so you're going to change this to your database instance name, and then your role ARN, you are going to change this now, and then your region is going to be this. Okay, but now how do you get the database instance name, my database instance? If you come back to your RDS that you add right here, remember this is your database identifier or the database instance name. So you are going to copy this, and then you are going to paste it right here. Okay, and then what is your role ARN? That role, remember we created that role, right? So let's come back to our IAM right here, this role. So if you click this role, this is the ARN right here for this role. You're going to copy that, and then you are going to put that right here. In my own case, I'm going to copy it and put it in my notepad right here before I then paste it onto the onto our CLI. Okay, and then your region, in your case, you're just going to look for what your region is. If you come right here, you'll be able to see what region you are using, or if you come to your EC2 right here, what region, like in my case is US-West-2. Okay, Now that you have gotten that, all you have to do is copy everything that you have created. Remember, it's always good for you to have it inside your notepad first. Okay, then I will right click, I will paste, okay, and then I will press enter. Very good. That is done, guys. All right, we are onto something here, guys. Very good, guys. Now the next thing we are going to be doing is we are going to be dragging our CSV file into our Amazon S3 bucket. So let's assume that there is you have a job that always puts some file inside your Amazon S3, but in this case we are just going to do it manually. But let me show you what that file is. First of all, the file is just a us_city.csv, which has 4 columns: city, states, census _20 2020, and land area square mile 2020. Okay, so I have just these few lines, and these numbers, don't get hung up on that, but then I got them from this URL right here, Wikipedia. So I just came and just got those numbers from that. Okay, now what we have right here is what we are going to put in S3 bucket, because that is what we are going to have right here. If it's going to be in our S3 bucket, and then we will load that into Amazon RDS. Okay, that is what we want to do. But let's first of all put it in the Amazon S3 bucket. So I will close this. Okay, don't save. And then I will drag it into my bucket. See, this is the bucket name, testing-ymlo, and then I will just drag it inside from my other monitor, and then I will do upload. You can see that I have it right there already. You can see us_city.csv. Then I would close. Okay, very good, guys. All right, guys, now we are almost getting to that point where we are going to be developing our code. Okay, but before that, what we will need to do is to use Visual Studio Code to connect to our EC2 instance. I'll click this EC2 right here. Okay, and if you have not watched this video right here where I showed you how to remotely connect or SSH into via Visual Studio Code into your AWS EC2, I would encourage you to go do that, because right now in today's video I'm not going to show you everything from the beginning. Okay, but if you're having challenging, but I'm going to try to explain some things, but if you are still having some challenge, I will encourage you to go watch this video, because in this video I actually did it step by step. Okay, very good, guys. Now what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to open up Visual Studio Code on my computer. Now I have done that, and then I will come to file, and then I will say open folder. So I have a folder that is called .ssh in my user folder right here is this Yemi. Okay, and then I have this folder .ssh. I would click that. Like I said, if you don't really fully grab this part that I'm explaining, I encourage you to go to this video where I broke everything down where I broke everything down step by step. Okay, now in this case there is a config file right here. Okay, now what we are trying to do right here is that we are trying to set up a config that would help us to be able to connect to our EC2. So these three right here, these are the config that I've already set up for my other EC2 instances. Okay, now but let me copy this and paste this right here, so that, and take note, it has to follow this indentation style, indentation style. Okay, now in the case of this hosts, what is host? Host is the name of your EC2. Okay, I will come right here, and then I will look for the name of my EC2, then I'll copy the name. Okay, if we look at this, don't edit it, guys, just copy it, and then I will come right here, I will type it, or I'll paste it rather. Then what is the host name? The host name is your IP, remember that when you check this, you will see the public IP right here. Copy this, bring it right here. Okay, just delete what I have right here, then put this. Then user is Ubuntu. If you remember some few minutes ago in the video, I was explaining to you that the user, because we are using Ubuntu, the user is Ubuntu. Okay, it's Ubuntu. I think there is also a place that it says, I think there is a place that it says that somewhere. Okay, but your user is Ubuntu right here. I'm trying to see if I can. Okay, if you click connect, you see the username Ubuntu. Okay, so I will cancel this back again. All right, and then remember that when we were creating our EC2 instance, I talked about a key pair, right? In my own case, I did not create a new key pair because I had one previously, which I had already saved in my downloads folder. If you look at mine, this is it right here. It's in my downloads folder. Okay, if you're having challenge in doing all in creating this, you know, this config, I highly encourage you again, go back to this video and watch that. Okay, now very good, guys. Now what you then need to do is that now that we have this way, I'm going to save. Take note, it has to be in this format, okay. Now I'm going to save, and then I'll come right here, open a remote window, and then I'll click this, and then I'll say connect to hosts. If I click that, you can see right here that the name of our EC2 is already showing right here. Okay, I will click this, and then now it's going to try to connect. Okay, now you can see opening remote is trying to connect right now. It's trying to, let's give it some few more seconds. Okay, now it's asking me, are you sure you want to continue? I will say continue. Very good, guys. You can see it has connected. You can see SSH, weather API, airflow, parallel execution. We have that right now. Okay, very good, guys. Let me open this. Now that we have that, what do we need to do? We are almost at that point now that we are going to be developing our code. Right now you can see that we did a lot of work right here in terms of installing dependencies and making sure that things are working fine. Okay, then I'll come right here, I will say file, and I will say open folder. Now you can see that the folder that is showing me right now is the folder of my EC2 home Ubuntu. I will say okay. I will say okay, very good. And that is trying to bring my folder. Let's give it some few seconds for it to do that. We want to start working on our DAG right now. We want to start developing our code. Very good, very good. Now that we have this, you can see right here, guys, you can see we are inside this Ubuntu right now. We are inside our EC2. Okay, and then we have this. Very good. Now what I would say we should just do right here now is let us activate our virtual environment that we created before. Let's also activate it right here. Source airflow_venv/bin/activate. You can see right here now it is activated. Okay, now what is the next thing that we need to do, guys? Okay, now that we have that right here, yeah, it seems that we probably did not install airflow. Maybe we forgot to, maybe we skipped that while we were installing. Let's go back and try to install that in our connect right here. Seems like we skipped that step because we are supposed to see, because while we are here, we are supposed to see airflow. We are supposed to see a folder that says airflow somewhere in this directory right here. Okay, So let us see what's going on. Let us try to install it right here, which is going to be sudo pip install apache-airflow. Okay, let's see if we already installed it before or not. Oh, it says our requirement is, it says requirement already. So, oh, okay, it says our requirement already satisfied. Okay, now let us do this. Let us come to our EC2. Okay, check this and then come to this public IP. Okay, and just go to another tab and then copy paste this and put 8080. Okay, don't click anything yet. Okay, however, let us come right here and let us say airflow. Okay, let's say airflow standalone. Let us run this command right here, airflow standalone. Let us run. Very good. Now it is starting to initialize that and run. It's creating admin user for us. Very good. If I come right here, you can see now that we have the airflow folder I was talking about previously. Okay, you see that right here, guys. So let us come back to this. Okay, very good. Now this has run. You can see that right here it gave us a login username to be admin, and then it also gave us a password. Take note of this, your password, and this your username. Okay, now let us go back to this tab that we created. Remember that I came over here, I came to this EC2 and to this public IPv4 DNS. I copied this because I copied this and then I opened a new tab, I pasted it, and then I put a colon and then I put 8080. Why did I put 8080? That is the port that airflow is going to be running. Okay, and then if I click enter, okay, I think it's trying to load. Let's see. Okay, this is not loading. Maybe something else is going on. Okay, let us take a look. Okay, we have your password. Yes, this is running right here. One thing is, let us check if we updated our security group to have 8080, to have port 8080. Let us come to our EC2 and let's come to security. Let us click our security groups. Did we have? Oh, we can see right here our inbound rules. We did not open that port, so we need to open that port. Okay, so I will click add rule, custom TCP, and then I will say 8080. Okay, and then I will say anywhere. Okay, take note, we need to open that port for that airflow to be able to run. Okay, then I will do save. I think that was the problem, we did not open that port. Okay, now let us come right here and let us just do refresh. Very good, guys. You can see now, guys, that that's how it's going to be in real life. You're going to be running into issues and then you are going to be, you know, debugging and fixing issues. Okay, now let us type in our username that airflow gave us. If you come to this connect, don't mind all these lines right here. This is due to the fact that we are already interacting with the airflow, and then it gave us a password. I'm going to highlight this, right click, copy. I will come right here and then I will Ctrl V to paste and then sign in. Very good, guys. I will close this. Very good, guys. You can see now we have our airflow UI right here. If you are able to get this far, congratulations, guys. That is awesome. You can see that we did a lot of things, a lot of installation, a lot of, you know, did policies, roles, and all of that. Okay, we even got some error, we troubleshooted, we fixed it. Good job, guys. Now you can see we have DAGs. So when you installed Airflow, you can see 46 DAGs came alongside with this by default, right? But in our own case, we are going to create our own DAG. So that means that by the time we create our own DAG, we should have 47 DAGs right here. Okay, very good, guys. Now let us start coding out something, guys. Take note, if we have error, we would come back and we will try to find out a way for us to debug. Okay, now inside this Airflow, what you are now going to do is create a folder that we are going to call DAGs, and I've also explained all this concept to you in my previous video. So if you have not watched my previous video, which I talked about right here, I highly encourage you to go do that, because I've already explained fundamental concept of Airflow in terms of DAGs, in terms of operators, in terms of workflows, in terms of, you know, how things move from one task to the other. We talked about task, we talk about legends, all this margin, all these border colors. What does this mean? As you can see them right here, I've explained those in previous video. Okay, very good, guys. Let us come back right here. Now that I have DAGs, I will then come right here and then I will create a new folder. I will call it weather_dag.py. okay, that's going to be where we are going to have our DAG. Okay, now in let me rename this. I would like to call it weather API_dag.py. okay, now I'm going to have this. Now this is where our DAG is going to be running. However, we need to make sure that Airflow knows where our DAG is going to be running. Therefore, you will go to the airflow.cfg, that's the config, and then come right here to this DAG folder. You need to specify which folder your DAG is going to be running, okay? And that is where we have home Ubuntu Airflow. Remember, we have this Airflow, and then we created DAGs, this DAGs folder, and then we put this file inside. So Airflow is going to go check this folder, this path right here, and whatever file it sees, that's where it's going to be running, okay? And also one other thing that will also make it to know that, oh, this is where I need to run this DAG, also is that you need to make this import right here from Airflow import DAG. Okay, very good, guys. And I've also explained some of this to you guys previously in my previous video. Don't forget to go watch that also. Now let us make some import right here, guys. I'm just going to be doing some copying and pasting to save on our time. Okay, so from date time, import time delta, date time. Then we also have a dummy operator which we want to use right here, because if you look back to what we want to build, so we are going to be using this start pipeline task. This is what we are going to be using, a dummy operator for this. This is just for us to have a starting point. Okay, so what I will do right here is that I will then create default arguments. Okay, I'll create a default argument right here, and what that means is that I'm going to be passing this default argument to my DAG when I'm creating my DAG. So I'm going to create my DAG instance right here. Okay, now this default argument right here is just saying who is the owner. I call it Airflow. You can basically call it any name you want it. Depends on past, false. That means that, are you saying that when we run it, this thing, is it going to depending on past? I'll say false. Then start date, email. Okay, you can just put any email right here. Email on failure, you are saying that should it email this your email address whenever there is a failure? I will put false. Email on retry, I'll put false. Don't email me. Should I retry if there is an error? I'll say yes, retry 2 times. Then how many minutes or seconds should go by before I retry? So in this case we put 2 minutes. That means that if there is a failure right here, if it retries first time, then it's going to wait for another 2 minutes before it retry again. Okay, now let us instantiate our DAG. I'm going to say with DAG. I'm going to give my DAG a name, which is weather_dag_2. okay, then these default args, these are these arguments I'm giving it right here. Okay, schedule interval, this is at daily, so that means I want it to run daily at 12 a.m. every day. Catch up, do I want it to catch up with with this start time, I will say false. Don't do that. Then I'll say as DAG. So take note of this indentation, guys. This is very, very important. Okay. Now let us now put our first task right here. So now I call it start pipeline. Then I'm using the dummy operator. So I have a task ID. So I give this task ID. Okay. Now take note that this your task ID should be unique across this DAG. Okay. So since this is one DAG right here, so you want to make sure that this task is unique across this DAG. Remember, the DAG name is weather_DAG_2. So all the tasks should be unique. Also, the name of the DAG that you give it also right here needs to be unique across the DAGs that you have in your Airflow instance. So we have 46 Airflow instances right here, right? So we have 46 DAGs. So that means that all the names right here needs to be unique from each other, right? Very good, guys. Now that we have this, let us save and let us see what happens in our Airflow UI. Now, since this is the first time we are putting this DAG, it's going to take some few minutes for it to propagate through. All you just need to do is continue to click refresh, or you click this Airflow icon. You can see we still have 46. So I will pause this video and check back in about 2 minutes plus or so, and hopefully by then it should have populated inside. You should have 47 by the time, you know, our DAG propagates through. Very good, guys. Now you can see that we have our DAG right here. You can see that we have our DAG. You can see that we have 47 right here. Okay, what does that mean? That means we have our own DAG right here. But there is something I need you to make sure that it is correct, right? Take note that make sure that this is well indented. Okay, make sure that you can see mine. Make sure that it is well indented, because if it is not indented, then you are likely not to see the DAG right, or this task right there. Okay, make sure that it is well indented. Okay, very good. Now that we have this, and also take note, it might take some few minutes for your DAG to propagate through, for you to see. It might take maybe up to 2 to 5 minutes or something. It depends. Okay, so just take note of that. Now if I toggle this to the right and then click this, you can see right here, if I look at this, if I look at it in graphical form, if I click on this graph, you can see this shows that this has run. If you look at the border color, this border color is this. Okay, if I want to rerun it, I can just do that, trigger DAG, and then it's going to run. Okay, you see it ran successfully. And take note, this first task is just a dummy task. It's not really doing anything. Okay, now very good, guys. Now what I want us to do right now is that, remember that we have done this start pipeline. Now what we want to do is we want a parallel processing. Okay, that is what we want right here, guys. Now what we are going to do right now is build this side that is the parallel, that is going to be where you're going to have two workflows working in parallel. And for you to do that, Airflow gives us what we can use that is called task group. Okay, we have a method we can use right here, which I will import, and it is called task group. And also I will import Postgres operator as well. So you can see my import right here. Okay, just follow this. Okay, now I would also give you all this in my in the description. Okay, so that you don't need to be typing everything. Okay, now now that you have this right here, now you have your task group. Now how do we create task group? How do we create this type of group right here, whereby you have this workflow and also we have this workflow? Okay, now in that case, you are going to have this statement right here with task group. I'm going to copy and paste right here. And the idea here is that we are having, also take notes of this indentation. Okay, now what we're having here is that this is like, think of it as having a DAG inside a DAG. Basically think of it that we are having a DAG inside a DAG. You understand that right now? So now what you want to do is inside this same indentation of this DAG, because this is our parent DAG. Okay, now we want to put groups, task group right here. So you say with task group, group ID, then give it a group ID name. So this is the name I'm giving it. Then tooltip, I'm calling it extract from S3 and weather API. This tooltip is basically when you hover on that group, you will see this text. Okay, and then I call it as group A. Okay, now very good, guys. Now the first task I'm going to create under this group is going to be creating a table. Take note of this indentation, guys. Okay, now I'm saying that, okay, I want my task instance to be this Postgres operator, and then I give it a task ID. Okay, that's the task ID. Remember, your task ID needs to be unique across this, your DAG. And then I have Postgres connection ID. We need to have a Postgres connection ID right here. Okay, now we are also I'm going to explain something to you right there shortly. But then your SQL statement, what are you trying to do? I want to create a table. If not exists, then you have the table name. Then I'm saying city should be text, state should be text, then the census 2020 numeric. Don't get hung up in these data types, and you could use varchar or anything that you want. Okay, and also if you want videos on Postgres, I have a playlist which I have right now, which I'm also adding more videos. I'm going to put the link in the description below, where you can go and learn Postgres from a beginner level to an advanced level. Okay, all right, now this is the first task that we have right here. Okay, now what am I going to do? Let us just leave this right here. Let us have another task. Okay, then I'll come right here. I will say another task. Remember, your indentation matters. This second task is, I call it truncate table, task truncate table, right? And we are using Postgres operator right here. What this is saying is that I'm saying that I'm creating this table. If this table have data already, just truncate that data. And this is, take note, you can do it the whatever way. If you are running, if you are doing a project, depends on your requirement. Take note, it depends on the requirement your customer gives you. But in this case, I just want to put truncate table so that when I'm running this thing several times, I can always truncate the table. Okay, now this Postgres connection ID is this same connection ID right here. We are going to set that up shortly, and the SQL command we are running is truncate table city lookup. Okay, now let us save this. Okay, now that we have saved it, let us go to our admin. Let's go to our UI, go to admin. Okay, go to connections. If I click on connections, okay, if you come to this connection, you see that there is a Postgres default right here, but we don't need that. Let us create a new connection for ourselves. Okay, now if you remember what we gave it right here, we gave it Postgres_con. That's our connection ID. Let us have this connection ID right here. Okay, and then what is the connection type? It is Postgres. Remember that we installed the Postgres provider the last time. Then what is the host? Now for us to get the host, come to your RDS right here, click. Okay, you see you have an endpoint right here. This endpoint link, let us copy it. Okay, let us go to this host right here, paste it. Take note, you could also put a description right here, and I encourage you to do that, because that will help whoever is looking at your code or something to understand what's going on. And then the login, what is the login for our Postgres admin, right? So we add that, and no, our login was not admin. Our for Airflow was admin. This was Postgres, remember. And then we have our password. Type in your password. Remember when you were creating your database instance. Okay, and then what is the port? 54 or 32. because that's the port that the Postgres is going to be running. Okay, I will save this, close this. Very good. Now that we have this, now I'll go back to my Airflow DAG. I would click on our DAG, then I'll come to graph so that you can see. You can see right here, guys, that we have that start task, and then we have this group that we talked about, this task group. We gave it group underscore A. Remember, we gave it group underscore A. This is the name of that group ID that we gave it. Okay, now, but if you click inside of this group underscore A, you can see now you have what? You have two tasks inside. Okay, but these two tasks, we have not connected them to each other. Okay, now what can we do? Let me click this back again. You can see now, first of all, what we can do right here is we can come right here to this with DAG, or let's inside this task group, let us create the dependency for that first. Okay, now which one do you want to run in that task group? In this task group, I will have, take note, I'm inside this task group indentation. Make sure that you are in this indentation of this task group for what we are doing right here. This is create table 1. This is this task. Okay, and then truncate table. This is it, second one, right? Then I will save. What that means is that I'm saying that within this task group, I want you to have this dependency. That means that this needs to run before this runs. Okay, we have saved. Let us go right here. Let us refresh. Let us see what's going on inside. You can see right here, guys. You can see. Very good. We have created this dependency. But right now, we have not created dependency between this group and this start task. Let us also do that. Let's come back right here. One thing you need to know is that for that, you need to come to this parent DAG. So come outside of this task group. Okay, you can see my cursor. Then just paste this start pipeline. So that means this pipeline is going to run before this task group runs, because this task group is called group A. You can see that this group A right here, I put it right here. Okay, so if I save this, what is going to happen? What we are saying right here is that this start pipeline is going to run before this group A runs. However, this group A also has its own dependencies, which means that this create table 1 needs to run before this truncate table. Okay, I hope you understand that right now. Let us come back to there and let us refresh. Very good, guys. You can see now we have created the dependency. We have this start pipeline, and we also have this group A. If I click group A, you can see what we have right there. That is what we are going to be doing, guys. Okay, now what is the next thing that I can just click it to open so that we can be seeing it? Now, if I create table and I truncate the table, the next thing I want to be able to do is I want to be able to grab that file. Remember that file that we put inside our S3 bucket? I want to grab that file and I want to put it inside the Postgres table that we just created, this table. Okay, so now let us create that task. I will copy and paste right here. So that task is also using Postgres operator. I'm giving it this task ID name. Okay, then the connection ID is the same as that Postgres con, because we are connecting to the same database. If you were to connect to a different database, then you put a different connection ID, and then you go and set it up also right here. Okay, you go and set it up also right here for that one. Okay, yeah. Now, but for this one right here, okay, we are going to have Postgres connection ID, Postgres con, and then SQL is going to be the command, the statement we want to run. Select AWS _S3. Remember this that we installed previously, that we said we are going to be using to import from S3. Okay, you're going to have this command. So this is the table you want to import into. That's the table in our Postgres. What is the format? CSV. Delimiter is comma. We're saying header is true. Which S3 bucket are we talking about? This S3 bucket right here. Okay, now what is the name of the CSV? This is the name. Which region? This is the region that I'm talking about, where I have my S3 bucket. Okay, very good, guys. Now you can see that we have this right here, guys. Okay, now the next thing we can do right here is we can add the dependency. Okay, and then don't forget to save. So what that means is that we have this create table, then after that it's going to truncate the table, and then it's going to upload, it's going to grab this data, this USC_series CSV, and then it's going to upload that inside this city lookup. Okay, I hope you guys understand that right now. We have saved it. Let us refresh this and try to run it. You can see right here, guys. Remember, we are still building something right here. We are not done yet, but this that we just built is this that we have right here. From S3 we want to load into Postgres. I hope you guys understand this right now. Okay, I know there is a lot of things, there's a lot of moving parts right here, but you can do it, guys. Okay, now let us try to run this, if we are going to run into an error or not. Then I'm going to come right here, and then I'm going to say trigger DAG. Let's see if it's going to run. Okay, this has completed. Now this is queued, it has run. That's run successfully. It truncated the table, and then it has uploaded that data into Postgres. Very good, guys. I hope you guys understand this right now. Okay, now even if we can also check if truly we have data in our Postgres. Let's just take a look at something, guys. Let's see if we can get it. Remember that if we are in our EC2 right here, we could get into the Postgres. Remember, we had a command that we could use to get into the Postgres, right, using the PSQL. So in my case, I will copy that right here, I will paste it here. You see PSQL-H, then your endpoints, right, and then the ports, and then the username, and then this one is saying that ask us for password. Let us say enter, and then I can put my password. You can see I'm inside the Postgres. So if I do /dt data table, display the data table, you can see right here in my Postgres now I have this table. Okay, now we just said that we have uploaded the CSV into this table. Let us confirm. Let us do a select star from city underscore lookup. Let's see. Oh, I forgot to put semicolon. Just put it right here now. That's cool. Very good. You can see right here, guys, that now we have those data in our Postgres. I hope you get that right now. Remember, I showed you the CSV previously. Now that same CSV content, the data, is what I have now in my Postgres. That tells you that we have been able to run this successfully. All right, guys. Now I'm going to, I could leave it this way, or I could exit out of it, but let's just leave it for now. Okay, now what is the next thing that we want to do, guys? Okay, we have been able to connect or to have the workflow for this part. Let us work on this upper one. Okay, now for that one also, the first thing I also like to do is to create a table, because as you know, we are going to be needing Postgres. We are going to be loading the data inside the Postgres, right? So that means I need to create a table first of all. Okay, now let me put the task for that right there. Okay, I will copy and then I'll put it right. Remember, it's going to be inside the task group. Take note, it's going to be inside the task group, because this workflow and this workflow, they are inside this place that I said parallel processing, inside that task group. Okay, so take note of your indentation, guys. So I will just copy and paste that right here. Take note of the indentation, otherwise you might be having some issues. Okay, this right here, this is good. So I'm using a Postgres operator. Take note, I'm also using the same Postgres connection. Okay, so that is why I have the same connection ID. So in this case, I am saying create table if not exist. This is the name of the table that I am creating. Right now we don't have such table, because if you look at what I had here, when I say /dt display table, the only table I had was Siri lookup, right? We don't have this weather data table yet. Okay, now in this case, these are the columns that I want to create inside this table, and I put their data types. Okay, very good. Now let's see if we can also create well, let's save this, and let us go to our UI and refresh. Okay, it has not propagated through. Did we save? Yes, we saved. It takes some few seconds also to propagate through. Okay, I will refresh. Very good, guys. You can see that we have that right here. You can see that right here, the create table. You have it right here. You have this first one right here, and then you have this second one right here, guys. You see that now, this create table, you have it right here. And also we need to create, we are going to create this dependency also for this one. Okay, and how do we create the dependency for that? All you have to do is you can just come right here, create table. Just come to this right here, just create table. Okay, and then save it, and then it will propagate through. So what happened right here was that Airflow just sensed it that maybe we want to put this right here, and that's why you have it right here. Okay, but usually what we need to do is put that that task right here. Okay, very good, guys. Now the next thing we want to do right here is that we want to be able to connect to our weather map API. Okay, so I'm going to have this task right here. I'm going to have this, and I've also showed this to in my previous video. If you have watched my previous video where I showed you how to automate all this. So we have what you call HTTP sensor, and what this does is to help you to sense if this weather map API is ready. But what do we mean by this right here? So now let's quickly go back to our open weather map API, and let me show you something right here, guys. If we go back right here, if you sign in, okay, and then let me just copy this and paste it here so I don't go back and forth. Okay, now if you go to API, okay, just scroll down a little bit and come to current weather data. If you click API doc, and then you scroll down right here, let us get up to this part, API call. If you look at this carefully, if you copy this and then you paste it right here. Okay, now if you paste this right here, the name of the city which you want to get data of, you just put it in the city name. So take, for example, in this case we want to talk about Houston. Okay, and then right here that says API key, you also need to put your API key. So in my case, this is my API key. I will copy that, and then I will paste that right here. I'll take out what you have right here, and then equals to the API key. If I click enter, you can see what I have right here. This is how the data is going to be. It's going to be in JSON format. Okay, I hope you get it right here. So that means that when I'm creating this task, you can see what I have. I gave it a task name. This is the HTTP sensor. This HTTP sensor is to help me to check if this URL is ready. Okay, however, I need to put the endpoint that I want to connect to. This endpoint, what does this endpoint contains? This endpoint is what I have from here, from this data, okay, from this slash data up to here. Okay, so it involves Houston, that's the city I'm interested in, and my API key. Okay, and that is what I've done right here. You can see I have Houston and I also have my API key. Okay, and also I need to create a connection ID. That means that this connection ID needs to be able to take me to this base URL, which is this https api.openweathermap.org. Okay, so now what I am going to do is I'm going to copy this weather map underscore API, this connection ID, and then I will go to my Airflow right here, connections. I will do connections, and then I will create the plus. I'll put the connection ID right here. Okay, and then I will do HTTP. Okay, and then I will then put the this URL right here. This URL, I will copy that. Okay, I will copy that, and then I'll put that as the host. Okay, that is what I have for this, so I don't need to put login or anything. Then I will do save. Okay, now that I have saved that, very good. And also I have this task right here, this task. So this task is going to happen after this create table 2. I will paste that right here. Also this HTTP sensor, I need to import that. Okay, I need to import that. So I'll put that right here, import. I will save. Okay, now let's give it some few seconds for it to propagate through to this place. So let me just come to Airflow. Okay, I can click this, and then I can come to this graph. Let's see what we have. Very good, guys. You can see right here, guys, this was the one we ran previously. Now this is the new one we are adding, this task create table, and this is using weather API ready, which is our sensor. You can see right here, guys, that this is how we are going to be creating tasks that are going to be in parallel. Okay, before we continue, let us run this and let us see what we get. If I trigger this DAG, let us see. You see now everything is starting afresh. Start pipeline has run. You can see that this one is in queue and this one is already running. They are running in parallel. Both of these have run, finished running. This has run. This is in queue. You can see that it's running. You can see that, guys, that everything is running. You can see that, amazing. You can see, guys, that this thing runs in parallel. You don't have, this workflow doesn't have to wait for this upper workflow before it runs. They are both running in parallel. Okay, all right, guys, I hope you understand this. All right, guys, now you guys can see that we have our sensor is working. It's telling us that the API is ready. Now let us extract the data. As you can see, if you take a look at what I showed you right here, when you go into that link, this is the data that it populates for you, right, in JSON. Now we need to extract this data from this weather map API. Okay, now in that case, we need to create a task after the sensor that will be able to extract the data, that's the JSON. This also I explained in my previous video. Okay, so it shouldn't be new to you. Take note, your indentation matters. Okay, now I'm calling it extract Houston weather data, and this is the task. It needs to be unique, and at this point we're going to be using a simple HTTP operator, which we need to import. Okay, we are going to import right there, and also we are going to use JSON also. Right, we are also going to use JSON by the time we get to by the time we want to run this. As you can see right here, in our extract, we are going to be using JSON. Okay, now this is the endpoint. I've explained this to you. It's going to be the same endpoint because it's the same API with this sensor, because the sensor is checking these endpoints, right? Also, we want to extract from this endpoint, which is what I just showed you right here. This is the data. Okay, now in that point, what is going to happen is that this is going to run, right, and it's going to extract the data. Okay, now let us put this in our dependency right here. So I'm going to save. Don't forget to save, guys. Don't forget to save. Okay, if you take a look at this, we are still having this to be start pipeline then to group A, right? So now that we have saved, let us refresh, see what happens. Very good, guys. You can see that we have this extract using weather API. Okay, if we try to run this, let's see what happens, guys. Let's put it auto refresh. If I do trigger DAG, let's see, you can see this has run. These two are already queued, is working in parallel, and then this has completed, move to this, that has run, move to that. You can see, guys, that this is awesome. This is working in parallel. Okay, let's see what happens. These two are running right now. Okay, this has finished running. Okay, very good. You can see that we have been able to extract our data. Now there is something, if you click on this extract right here, this task, if you click on this and you come to XCOM, that's cross communication, we want to look at the data that we extracted. If I click on that XCOM, you can see that this is the return value. You can see that it is no different from this structure that we see right here. Okay, you can see that the name of that city is Houston, and there you see the longitude, the latitude, all these are the information. Now this information, because this is not an heavy data, right, we can transfer this data to the next task, and then do some transformation. Okay, yeah, because XCOM is cross communication. That means you are transferring or you are exchanging data between two tasks. So this task, this extraction task generated or extracted this data. So this data, we want to send it to the next task. Okay, now let us go back to our Visual Studio Code. Okay, now let us come to this let us create a transform. Let us create a transform task right here. So I call it transform load using weather data, and you can see I'm using a Python operator right here because I'm going to be calling a Python function. Okay, so now we need to import the Python operator. Okay, so let us import Python operator. I'm going to do a copy and paste right here. I'll put the Python operator. Okay, and then I need to create a function that would help me to transform that data that we just extracted. Okay, so I'm going to just do a copy and paste right here. Okay, guys, I will do a copy and paste. Then I'll go on top right here, not inside the DAG. Okay, so what is happening right here is this, guys. What is happening right here is this. We are saying I'm defining a function, and I'm putting an argument right here, which is task instance. So I'm saying the task instance dot xcom underscore pull. What we want to do right here, we want to pull data that the previous task had returned. Remember, I showed you right here this task using weather data. It gave us this data, it returned this data right here. We want to grab those data. Okay, and that is why we would then say xcom underscore pull task ID. What is the task ID of that previous task? This extraction, it is called TSK, that's task extract using weather data. Okay, so that is what we have right here, task extract using weather data. Now the question then is, where did we get this group A from? Remember that this task right here, this task ID, is a member of this task group, and this task group is called group underscore A. Take note, it is a member of this task group, which is group ID group underscore A. So what that means that you have to put that right there, group underscore A dot the task ID. That way Airflow knows that this is the task ID, that it is the task ID inside this task group, that you are talking about. Okay, now that is that. And then if you are able to get the data like you saw it in JSON format, then you can extract the necessary information that you want from the. I've also explained this to you in my previous video, both in this one and in this video. Okay, yeah, I've explained it to you both in this video and in this video. Okay, all right guys, so now let us go back right here. And also I'm also converting this temperature to Fahrenheit because they are in Kelvin from the weather map API. Okay, so I need a function that will help me to do that, and also to round it to 3 decimal places. So because of that, I have this function right here. Okay, very good guys, you can see we are putting everything in place right here. And also this transform load weather data, we need to put it as the dependency right here. Okay, so that means that this is one workflow, this is one workflow. However, these two workflows, they are running in parallel. Okay, and then these are the parent workflow. Okay, now one thing also I want you to note right here is that in this transform load data, by the time we grab all the necessary data, we are going to put them inside a dictionary, which is what we are doing here, put it inside a list, and then convert it into a data frame. And then this data frame, I am saving it to a CSV file, which I'm giving this name, current weather data.csv. Okay, index I say is false, header I say is false. Okay, now this is going to be saving inside this working directory. Right now, as you can see, there is nothing inside this working directory that is called current weather data.csv. So if this workflow runs successfully, we should be able to see the CSV right here. Okay, so I'm going to save this so that it can propagate through. Okay, let us go back to our Airflow. Okay, I would click this and then come to graph. Let's see what we have. Very good guys, you can see that we have our transform also right here. Okay, now if I can do this auto refresh. Don't know why that's not going, but that's fine. We can just do trigger DAG right here. Okay, when we triggered it, then it went to auto refresh itself. Okay, very good. Now you can see that this is running right now. This is running right now, guys. You can see it's running in parallel, guys. Okay, very good. Everything is running successfully. You see that has finished. Now we are doing some transformation right there. Okay, you can see that we have a yellow border right here, yellow color. It says up for retry. It's retrying. That means there is an error. Let us see what is the cause of the error. Go to log. Go to log. Oh, look at it. It says name error. Name PD is not defined. PD is pandas. So let us go back to our code. Let us go back to our code. We used pandas somewhere right here. You can see where we are converted to pandas data frame. So we need to import pandas. And also it seems that we did not also install pandas previously. Okay, so let us quickly come back right here and install pandas. Okay, so I will do /q, enter. We go back to our Ubuntu, and then our virtual environment. Okay, and then let us install pandas real quick. I'm just going to do a copy and paste right here. You can see that you're going to be getting some errors, but you can always fix them. Okay, now I paste that, and then I'm going to install. When we install, then we can rerun. Okay, and then we can rerun. Let this complete the installation. Okay, very good, guys. We have finished installing this. We have finished the installation. Let us go back to this page, and then let me just go back. Okay, now this is the one that failed. Okay, you can see every other one passed. Then I will just click this, left click this, and then I will go to clear. If I click clear, and then it's gonna rerun because we are in auto refresh. I'm going to click clear. I'll say okay, and then it's going to try to run only that part. Okay. Oh, it's saying there is an error again. What is that? Oh, PD is not defined. Did we save? Oh, we didn't save. Okay, it's very important, guys. You can see that it's normal for you to get some of those type of errors, but then you just have to fix it. I will do clear again. I will do clear, and then it should run now, hopefully. Let's see. Very good, guys. You can see that it has run successfully. You see that that's how you're going to be running into issues, right? And then you try to debug or fix it. So let's come right here. You can see right here, guys, now we have current weather data.csv. If I click this, you can see we have the data. That means we have been able to extract that. Okay, you can see that right there, guys. Very easy, guys. If I click on this and I go to XCOM, you see I don't have any data right here because I'm not returning anything for that one. But for this one, this extract, if you go to XCOM, you are returning data. You can see that right here, guys. Very good, guys. Very good. I hope you understand that right now. If I click on this, you can see this is our main DAG, our main workflow. But inside this group A, that is where you have all these different ones, all these different workflow. Okay, now we have been able to get the data, but now let us put this data, let us put it into Postgres. Remember that we have created table right here. Now we want to put this CSV data inside our Postgres. How do we do that? Let us create another task, and let us give that task a name. Okay, and the name we are going to give that task, we are going to call it load weather data. So I'm going to come right here. I'm going to come back. Let me close this, and then I'm going to come back here after transforming. I'm going to say load. Remember your indentation matters. I'm going to say load weather data. This is the task, and then I'm going to call a Python function which I'm going to call load weather. Okay, so now let us define our function. If I copy and paste my function right here, if I come right here, I put my function. Okay, what is this function? This load data. This function is using what we call Postgres hook, and then is connecting to this Postgres connection. Remember this connection ID? We already have that. We already have the endpoint, and this hook is using this method copy expert, and this is our SQL statement, copy weather data. Okay, this weather data, remember the table that we created before, that table we created from here. Remember we created the table, this weather data. Okay, right, and that table is this one we created here. You can see that. And then now we are saying that copy that data from standard in with delimiter as comma, which is CSV, right? Then the file name, remember the file name that we just that is being outputted in the transform task. So this transform task is going to save the CSV, right? And then that CSV is what we want to grab, and then we want to copy it into our database. The database, we know the endpoint because we already have this connection ID inside when we came to this admin, this connection settings, right? Okay, and then we need to import this Postgres hook, right? So let us import that right now, guys. I'll do a copy and paste. I'll put that right here. Okay, we have that Postgres hook. That's very important. And then the next thing we are going to do right here is that this load weather data, let us also put that as a dependency here. Okay, and let us don't forget to save. Don't forget to save, and then let us come back right here, and then and refresh. Might take few seconds for us to see that it's not there yet. Let's wait for a few more seconds, and then we should see that propagated. Very good, guys. You can see right here, guys. Load task is load weather data. We have that right here. Okay, now you can see how we are building this workflow. So let us load this data. Let's see if that is going to run successfully without error. I'm going to trigger my DAG again. Everything is going to run. Let's see how everything is running. Okay. Okay, everything is running as it should. Very good. Very good. You can see this ran successfully. That means we have been able to load this data also in. If you also want to check, you can go ahead to check, just like I checked the previous one right here, where you go to the Postgres client and then you write a select statement. But this time around it's going to be weather underscore data. That's your table name. Okay, you can do that, guys. That should be pretty easy for you to do. Okay, now what do we want to do? What we want to do right now is that we want to join. Remember what we are creating. Now we have it in the Postgres, and then we have this right here. Okay, for some reason, let me show you how we can check that quickly, so that you can be sure that you guys understand what we are doing. So if I come to this SQL again, and then I do enter, then I will do my password. It goes, remember the password is not going to show. I say enter. Okay, if I do -dc, that's display table, we should be able to see two tables. You can see right here now, guys, we have two tables now, unlike previously that we had one table. Right now we have two tables. Okay, now let us write a select star statement. Select star from weather underscore data. Let's see if we're going to get some data. Oh, semicolon. Very good. You can see right here, guys, that we have one data right here because we have only run this once, right? If we run it second time again, we are going to upload new data also inside. We're going to have two rows. Okay, but we've only run it. You can see right here, guys, that everything is working just fine for us. Okay, now let us see if we can join those data. Okay, we want to join those data right here. How can we do that? Let us create a join task. But remember that for this our diagram, our sketch right here, for us to join it is going to be outside of this task group, because now we have been able to have all this to run in parallel. Now we have our Postgres, and we want to join those data from here and from here. We want to join them. It's going to be outside of this parallel processing. Okay, and because of that, I will come outside right here, just below this start pipeline, and I will say, I will paste this right here. What am I doing here? Remember, we are also going to be using Postgres operator because we are connecting with Postgres, and then our connection ID remains the same. I give it a task, and in this case I'm saying select. I'm selecting all this. If you don't know how to write all this type of things, this type of statement, I encourage you to go watch my Postgres playlist video. I keep updating that that playlist. It takes it from the very beginning to advanced level. Okay, so I encourage you to go check out that. But what I'm doing right here is I am extracting from weather data and also joining it to city lookup table. Okay, I'm joining on city. Okay, that is what is going on right there. Since this course is not for majorly SQL, I encourage you to go watch my playlist. I'll put the URL in the description below, the link. Okay, very good, guys. So now this is my join data. I will save this right here. So let's save it and let us see what happens. Well, however, we need to put this as a dependency, or even before that, let's just save it and let's just see how this is going to show up right here. Okay, if I refresh, you can see right here, guys, that this is the task join data that we just created right here, but it doesn't have any dependency yet, right? But we know that it needs to be outside of here, right? So what we can do, let me click this. So what we can do is that let us go and define the dependency in our Visual Studio Code. So in that case, I'm going to have join data. I'll copy that, and then I'll come to this main workflow. I'll put this right here and I will save. So if I save this, I will come back right here. You can see how we have it right now. I will refresh. Okay, not done yet. Let us refresh again. It hasn't propagated through. Give it some few more seconds. Let us refresh again. Very good, guys. You can see now we have that right here. That means you are going to start the pipeline. You are going to run this parallel processing, after which you are going to join, right? You can see what's going on right here. So this data and this data I'm going to join using this task join data. Okay, now I don't want to run it right now. Let me add another task right here. Okay, now the task I want to add right now is going to be a load task. Okay, I'll call it load join data. So this data that we just got, this data that we are just going to be getting from here when we join those two tables together. Okay, now we want to have another task that would help to load them into S3. We want to load them into S3. Okay, but before we load them into S3, let us just save it inside this working directory first, just for us to have an idea that it is working perfectly. Okay, and this is going to be a Python operator. We give it this task ID. Okay, and we are going to be calling this function save join data underscore S3. Okay, I'm going to copy my my function. I will bring it up over here, guys. I hope you guys are getting this. I know we have a lot of things going on right here, but I think it's really worth us going over these things if we want to increase our skill the more. Okay, see what I'm doing right here. I am doing save. This is my function, then I put a task instance. Okay, and I am saying that I want to use scom underscore pull again. I want to pull from the previous data. I want to pull from that previous data that was generated when you joined the data, and then I want to convert it to a data frame. Okay, and these are the columns that I want to create in my data frame. You can see that. Then I want to save it into CSV. I hope you get that right now. But before this, let me just comment this out for you guys. Let me comment this out for you so that you can see what's going on. Let me comment this guy for you guys. Let me save. Okay, let us save and let us refresh. Let everything propagate through. And the reason I'm saying so is because I want you guys to see what's going on. Okay, you can see that this task join has not run at all, right? So I want you to see the data that it output. Okay, let us refresh and let us run. I just want you guys to understand all the moving pieces right here. That's why I'm spending some time to run these things. You can see that this is running, and that would help you to see what is going on in every stage of our airflow, of our development. You can see right here, guys. You can see right here that this has finished running. But while this has finished running, this has not joined yet because this is still needs to run. And now this is queued right now. Okay, let's see if this. Very good. You can see that this has finished joining, right? We have pulled those data to join. Now if I click this and I click scom, you can see that we have a list of lists right here as the return value. So this list of lists right there, which is the return value, is what we are going to be grabbing in this new task. This new task that I call load joint data. We have the joint data right now, right? And then we want to use a Python function right here to help with that joining, right? And this is the Python function right here, okay? And that's why I said tax join data. This tax join data is this, it is this one right here, is this join data, it is here, this tax join data, you see, because when we joined it, we got some return value. You can see that, you saw that in the XCOM, right, that I showed right now. So the data that is here is what we want to pull in this particular function. We are going to pull it into this data, and then we will convert this data into data frame. These are the columns that we want, okay? And then we'll save it as CSV. And the name for the CSV is going to be joined weather data.csv, index equals to false. As you can see right here, this name right here, we don't have it inside this directory at all, right? Right now, as you can see, we don't have it, but when we run it, then you're going to be able to see it right there being saved here. So I'm going to save this. Remember, you need to save, otherwise it's not going to run. And then I will click this back button. I will close this. I would refresh so that everything, oh, we have an error right here. Okay, what is the error? Let us take a look. It says unexpected indents, line 111, load join data. Let us go back there. Load join data 111. You see why your indentation matters. 111. Okay, this one right here, I need to bring it to this side. Okay, now you can see. Let us save. Let us save and let us refresh. If we fix it there, if we fix the error, then this should go away. Let us refresh. Okay, it has not it said our DAG seems to be missing. Is there any other error? Still the same error because it has not propagated through. That is why. Okay, let us refresh again. Okay, very good. You see now it has our update has propagated through, and that is why the error went away. Now we can come right here now, graph. Okay, you can see that we have the task load join right now. Let us go ahead and put the dependency for that load join. This load join, we are going to remember it's going to be part of the main workflow. I'm going to save. So when you save, you wait for a few seconds, and then we should be able to see this load join data task to come right over here. Okay, I can refresh. It's taking some few seconds. Let's wait for a few seconds again. Okay, let's refresh again. Okay, it's not listening to us. Okay, let's just make sure that everything is good on our end there before we go and refresh again. Okay, load join data. Okay, let us refresh again. Okay, very good, very good. It was taking its sweet time. Okay, now it has we can see it right now. It has updated right now. In that case, what do we need to do right now? Remember that we want it to save that CSV right. It's going to save it right here, that joint data. Okay, so now if I come right here, if I trigger the DAG, let's take a look at what is going to happen. You can see that everything is running in parallel within this group. Within this group is parallel. So this start pipeline will run first, and then this group A is running in parallel. You can see what is going on right here, guys. His work is running in parallel, and then after everything in this parallel processing in this group A finished running, then we are going to join. So it is in queue right now. It has finished running, and then the next thing is okay, very good. Now we have been able to load the join data, but however in this case we did not load to S3 yet. We only saved it right here. You see that joined weather data. Let's click. You can see now we have all the data because we have run this about 3 times. That's why we have 3 rows. You can see you have your Houston description and all of that. All those things, you have them right here. I hope you guys understand this right here, guys. You can see how easy this is, right? Now I think we are almost to the end of this project, guys. This is this very simple project that you are going to learn a lot from, that I'm sure that you're already learning a lot from. Okay, so now, but instead of saving it inside this working directory, we want to save it inside our S3 bucket. What do we need to do? So I put this together right here. I'm going to copy and paste right here, and then I'm going to comment out this. Just put your cursor right in front here and just do Ctrl/. Okay, and I think that's called /. So now what I'm doing right here is I'm grabbing, remember that we have already imported datetime. So now I'm grabbing datetime, the time right now. I put it in now, then I'm converting to, I'm formatting the time, and then I'm adding that string that I have in this format time to this joined weather data, and so that then I have it as dt_string. And the reason I'm doing that is because each time we save to S3, I want the files to have their own distinct file name, because each time you run, we are grabbing the time, we are grabbing the date and the time, okay, both the hour, the minute, and the seconds, right? And then we save it into this, and then we are bringing it right here into this f string, okay? And then this is the format if you want to save it into your S3 bucket. Remember that our S3 bucket is called testing-ymlo, right? And then you have S3, so S3://, okay? You can see that right there. And then I'm saying index is false, okay? That is what we are going to be having. So in this case, I can save this, and remember that we already have roles and permissions that we have given to our EC2 for S3. Remember that we had that from the beginning, where we created the policy, we created the roles, and then we attached the policy to the roles, right? Remember all those things. So now I have saved this, and I think this should be able to run, and our workflow, everything is working fine. These two rows are for the parallel processing, and then this one is what is modulating or orchestrating the whole pipeline. Okay, we have saved. Let us see if it has propagated through. I would do this. Okay, I think we should be fine. We are not expecting any task right now. Okay, and then one other thing that I can quickly just put right now before we run it is let's put an end pipeline, just like we had start pipeline. We had start pipeline. Let's put an end pipeline, so that would help us to that would help to show that we are at the end of our pipeline. Okay, let us put that right here, guys. Let's put that right here, guys. Okay, we have our end pipeline, and then I would save. So when I save, let us come right here, let us refresh. In the next few seconds, it should propagate through, and then I will refresh again. Okay, you can see right here we have the task end pipeline right here, right? So we need to put it in within this within our main pipeline, which is this as the dependency, and then I will save. I would save that. When I save that, I can come back right here and refresh. Very good, guys. You can see right here, guys, that we have our task end pipeline. You can see, let me make it a little bigger. You can see we have this. We have task start pipeline, the group A, then they join them, then you load them, then you end the pipeline. Let us open up this, and then let me make it a little bit bigger. Okay, very good. I think we can see it right here. Now we have all this. Now let us run, and then we're gonna go check our S3 bucket to see if we have the CSV file inside. Let us trigger the DAG. Okay, let me make it a bit bigger. Okay, you can see right here, guys, that is running. Okay, this is also running. We are in the group A right now. It's working in parallel. Okay, that is working in parallel. You can see that this is finished running. We are now uploading to S3 and we're uploading S3 to Postgres right here. This is running. You see, that's finished running. While this has finished running, it's still waiting for this upper row. Okay, that is done. Now we are joining right now. Okay, finish joining, and then we want to load. Very good, we have loaded. We loaded successfully inside our S3, and then we have a dummy operator. We have a dummy operator, which is the end pipeline. That one is not really doing anything. That's just for us. That's just to show us that that is the end of the pipeline. Very good, we have been able to load to our S3 bucket. Now let us go and confirm our S3 bucket. If you go to your S3 bucket, I can refresh. All right, you can see right here, if we go into this bucket, now you can see that this is what we just ran, and we got this data right there. Very good, guys. I hope you guys understand this. You see right here, guys, we have been able to execute this project. We did the parallel processing, and then we joined it here, and then we put it in the Amazon S3 bucket. I hope you guys understand this, guys. I'm going to put the code in my GitHub, and then I'll share the link with you, and also all the necessary commands and all of that. I'm going to be sharing them in the GitHub and also in the description below. All right, guys, if you have not subscribed to our channel, I highly encourage you to subscribe so that you can benefit from all our awesome videos. And also, if click on the bell so that you can be notified whenever you release our videos. Don't forget to like our video so that we can be ranked higher by the YouTube algorithm, and don't forget to comment and share so that more people can benefit. All right, guys, thank you. See you in the next class.